No, I think the state of every phase on a football team is an evolving process. You go through highs and lows. I think all of our. Uh, I think you point to the point you make about the last time we played them was exactly right. I think, um, you know, I I think you have to base your decisions on how you schematically attack a defense, um, based upon not theoretical crystal balls, more so your players and what they're executing, what they're doing well, what the matchups are, and how to put them in good positions. So I kind of, every game I kind of approach it the same way, where you're trying to get your players in good position to have an effect on the game, and there's you don't necessarily have to change your identity as much as you have to learn lessons on every level. Each player has to look at their failures the same way I look at my failures, and I think our team does that, which is why it's the only way that amongst all your doom and gloom with the with the defense, they've held themselves to a high standard on offense. They've I think they started the year out first week number one, and that carries a lot of weight with it. And maintain that throughout the season. There were highs and lows, like there always going to be in football. Um, the bottom line is we have a confident group that will be in position to make some plays, and I think we have the right people in place to do those. So I feel pretty good about this game. Um, that's a good questionable. Okay. The short weeks, you really have to take it up to the end of the week clock, and specifically with those two, you want to make sure everything you're doing, that you're pressing them enough, not too much, but you kind of have to you kind of have to be able to forecast what's going to happen in the game, all things equal. That doesn't mean they can't get injured on. I think the last time we played the Chiefs, Jalen Waddle got rolled up on the second play of the game. You can't forecast those types of things, but you need to know that the player you're taking into the game has, with your best inclination, a reasonable chance to play the entire game. So that's where we're kind of at right now. Is we haven't had any setbacks with those two, and I'm feeling optimistic with both. But there's the reason why they're in question is because we're pressing them to see if you only have a certain amount of active players on a game day roster. Every time somebody gets hurt in a game, it puts stress on your entire team. We saw that last week, and it trickles down to all the way down to special teams. Even when a player that doesn't get any special teams reps gets hurt, then someone else who plays on special teams has to so that trickle down effect we're protecting against, and we'll utilize the time until kickoff to make that decision. Yeah, no, they both fall into that questionable kind of situation there. I think specifically the way Deshaun really pressed through that game last week, and he's not going to be able to take any reps to try to get that calf to his best position. He seems to be of the stubborn quality where I'm optimistic about him, but I still won't know. He's going to take all the time. I think he might as well have a post office box here in the training room and get his mail delivered there because he's been living in it. Then same thing with Javon. Those two are going to be game day decisions for sure, based upon their ambition to play in the game, their work and the training staffs does an outstanding job with those guys. And short weeks, playoff games are kind of adding variables. It's really mixed emotions, I would say. I'm more, there's a lot of, I'm more kind of just kind of taken aback by, that in conjunction with, Coach Saban and Pete Carroll. They're responsible. They have as much responsibility to what the game is right now as anybody that's around. I have so much respect and regard for, being able to do what they've done for that amount of time. I have a very close firsthand experience on what it means, the sacrifice it takes to do this job. That it is a sacrifice, such a blessing, such an opportunity. But you really have to pour yourself into it, and when you do that for a quarter century, I can't say enough positive words about Coach Belichick, and I love Coach Carroll and Nick Saban in there because it feels the same way. It's just kind of like it's a reminder to me that I'm just gonna be candid that Father Time's a dick. Really, really, really not a nice guy. But it's real, and I think it reminds you that everything is finite, and I think a lot of people have gained a lot perspective, motivation. The leadership of Coach Belichick has been really, really cool to watch. It's he's been at the chair for 24 years in one organization. And it wasn't because of entertaining press conferences. It was because he was his due diligence at what his job was. So I have a lot of regard and am kind of more, as you can tell, I'm kind of mourning the loss of those three for sure. No, I think there's a reason for everything. You can make everything that you experience purposeful if you have the mindset of you kind of dictating the terms. I think I do think there was something to get over playing the Chiefs. Unfortunately, we played them this year. I think that even if you go into a game like with as much confidence as you had all season, there's still an element of, okay, this is the team that holds the crown. And then I think within a game, like every game, it turns into a football game that you're used to that has to do with executing the fundamentals and technique of your job at a high level. And I think I'm more comfortable with the team going into Arrowhead now than I probably was than playing them in Germany, even with all the this, that's, and the others of why we shouldn't have that confidence. I feel like we have a team that's fought and got knocked down and stood up, and they're excited for the opportunity to play a team that deserves all of their accolades because they've earned them, and they've earned the home playoff game. So you have an uphill battle that your job is to make it not that. And I think our team understands the whys to the position we're in and excited for the opportunity to go compete against a team that they know they can compete with. and let the chips fall as they may. But I know we're a closer team that has weathered life's lessons and still coming to work with a lot of gusto to go do something special, and very, very motivated to go against a championship caliber team on the road, because it will be difficult, but that's that much more of that's why it would be that much more enjoyable, and so it's worth the grind, and it'll be fun. Well, I think you can control the game in a different degree. I think everybody's emotions are high, and the orchestration of pass game execution can be fickle at times, and an equalizer is, hey, we have the ball, you don't, and you get to build on with the run game. It's really cool because you're building all year to be able to perform and hold the ball for your team, maintain possession, and score points doing it. So I think it's the build up that makes run games in the playoffs so powerful. I think that is, I've been on teams that have run the ball well in the postseason, and all of those teams have had a journey that I think we've had this year, where you've pressed along, and if you narrow it down to individual blocks or combination blocks, and if you watch a cut up of how we're executing blocks, how we're blocking people now versus the beginning of the season, it's night and day. So that's what you're trying to do to me. At least that's what we're trying to do every year, is to make it that way. So the results are the results. We score a lot of points sometimes we don't score as much. But what I can say is tangible fact is that we've progressed on how we've blocked people, and that's a big deal in the postseason, because just think about it this way: there's a bunch of individual human beings, and when you walk into a playoff stadium, the energy is just tangibly different. Why is it different? Well, because every person in the stadium knows that the loser goes home. So that energy is on tilt. Every play, you can hear a bigger gasp when there's something positive or negative. All of that weighs in to the human element and the human experience of a elimination game that is there. It's a powerful experience that you can't replicate. It is it's why you do it. And in those types of moments, you like to control the will of the game, and the most control you have is on the ground for sure. So you got to be able to stop the run and run the ball. Yeah, well, it's more of a conversation, I think, because and I think it's something that the Kansas City Chiefs offense is very well versed at. But there's a certain time where if you're productive enough, if you gain the attention or garner the attention, you every week seem to be finding out what they're going to do live. They end up changing who they are. So as a result, your game plan has to adjust, and when people are prioritizing surprise and elements of unknown defensively, that conversation comes up because guys are very aware. Listen, we practiced all week against this single high safety, and they, I think there was in particular, one that stands out is we talked a lot about safeties, the Giants game. You learn so much about people. No, I just wouldn't pick that ringtone for you. I don't know what ringtone I would have picked, but what would you have picked? I don't know, but so boom. So but like we were talking about the Giants week. Well, they blitzed the most or the second most in the NFL, and so we prepared a lot for our game plan to be able to handle that, and they played two safeties pretty much the whole game. So your players are more in tune with what are we getting, because week after week after week, it's been okay. Do they show up and play a different defense? So they, I think the conversation amongst our players is just because they know the most football they've ever known. They've really progressed that way, and that's what happens when you get people's best shots each week in, week out, which is what you want. Um, but I think it's also them just having more knowledge of what their opponent is, and then it stands out when they adjust. Well, I mean, I've been saying a quarter century just because it's more impactful, but I've been saying means that I've been saying it a lot, which means it means a lot. I've been it was one of the first things I talked about my first day um, on the job, because you have to understand what the passions that your fan base are, the experiences they've had, what they're harboring, and then what it will feel like to bring people that joy of rooting for a team for that long, and then to not be able to experience at least one postseason win. That's rough. That is rough. That myself and the whole organization want to deliver on, ending that and doing right by all those years of passion. I also think it's something really cool to achieve. So I've been leaning on that. Both seasons I've been here. We talked about it on my first team meeting this week when we're beginning this prep, because that is an obstacle, but generally obstacles have if there's a huge pot of gold, so to speak, when there are obstacles. There's a saying that I just came up with right now: adversity is opportunity. Just right now, live speed, but that's why, because it's like, wow, yes, that is whole, how great would it feel to be able to be the team that ends that drought, and for a fan base that is very steadfast and hungry, and we have a lot of love for our fans, and so it's a big deal that comes that you don't chase directly. It's there, but if you worry about constantly your technique, fundamentals, and execution of your job, um, that's something that is a reward waiting for a job well done. No, absolutely it is. No one likes being cold. That's why we have temperature control. However, um, it does make it the moment bigger when you know that that's a absolute fact that it's going to be frigid. Um, what if, as a team, you find a way to it not affect you? That to be able to go and do athletic performance in that weather, it takes will. That will comes from a passion that's deep down, that has been derived, why guys even started playing the game, that you're unlocking. So the last time I played in zero-ish degree weather was 2021 at Green Bay in the divisional round, and much like this team, we were up in Santa Clara, and we have like one coat in our closet. You know, weren't used to that at all. But it galvanizes people, kind of like if you talk to our players, the most fun game outside of result that we played in 2 years was the one at Buffalo that Saturday night on a short week last year. So so it's about the team part of it. It's about the doing something that's difficult inherently that motivates you as a competitor, I think. And we have a lot of competitors on our team, so they're you know the I think the places that teams have to go to execute in those type of situations that that are hard. Um, I think that's what kind of makes them stand out in history, because you get a lot of cool spirited effort by people, doing things that a lot of people would struggle to do.
Thank you guys. Thanks.